Michigan voters, for the first time, are going to be able to vote by mail, and early voting starts this week. But the president has many times said that this is not a fair process. So can Michiganders trust this process?
Absolutely, Michiganders can trust this process. And, you know, listen, here's the thing. There's so much at stake in this election. And the thing that Joe and I want to just make sure is everyone knows that their voice is their vote. Their vote is their voice. We urge people to vote early. Voting starts September 24th, 2 days from today. And we want everyone to know that it is so important that they participate. It is they, Michiganders and Americans, who are going to determine the outcome of this election.
And Senator, we have some of the most diverse communities in mid-Michigan. And in 2016, for the first time, Saginaw County voters chose the Republican candidate, Donald Trump. This is the first time in 3 decades. So how do you plan to win those voters back?
Joe and I plan on earning the vote of everyone. And it's going to be by pointing out that on this issue of COVID-19 and this pandemic, where there have been thousands of Michiganders that have died from it, over 100,000 who have contracted the virus, that Joe and I will grab this bull by its horns and do a number of things, including having a national testing strategy, a national treatment strategy, and when God willing we have a vaccine, a national strategy for that, and contact tracing. But it's more than that. It's also about building back up our economy. Don't forget, Joe helped save Michigan's auto industry. Joe cares deeply, I care deeply about making sure that we build back up not only jobs in the auto industry, but in manufacturing, that we buy American. And Michigan has such a rich and important history in our country of being a leader on this. And that's why I'm here in Michigan. That's why Jill was here last week and Joe was here the week before, because we know how important Michigan is, both in terms of who we are as a nation, but in terms of the path toward victory.
Let's talk a little bit about the pandemic. You toured some Flint businesses today. Small businesses are hurting in Michigan. Many of them were closed for several weeks or 3 months. So how do you keep people safe but also keep our businesses open?
Well, first of all, we have to get control of the pandemic and do it in a way that is about being smart. One of the initiatives that Joe and I have is about assisting small businesses with what they need to do to reopen, to rehire, and that includes federal assistance to help folks in terms of getting plexiglass barriers, in terms of the PPEs that you'll need, the equipment that you'll need to open back up. And that's a big part of our plan. Our plan is also about making sure that we actually embrace science and listen to the public health professionals, and we tell the truth. Wear a mask, it'll save lives, yours and your neighbors.
You know, President Trump is promising that there will be a vaccine here shortly. When that vaccine comes out, will you take it?
If the doctors and the public health professionals tell us it is safe, I will trust it. If Donald Trump tells us it's safe, I will not trust it.
America's debt is in the trillions right now, and the pandemic is only making the debt worse. How will you get control without cutting programs like Medicare or Social Security?
Well, on day one, we need to get rid of, and we will, that tax cut that Donald Trump passed for the richest 1% of our country and the biggest corporations of our country, which has contributed at least $1 trillion to the deficit. So let's start there.
We dealt with 2 catastrophic disasters in mid-Michigan within the last 5 years. We had the Flint water crisis, and then we had the dam failures this year. So how do you fix the infrastructure issues that are plaguing so many American cities like ours and impacting these lives?
Joe and I have a plan for $2 trillion that will be invested in America's infrastructure. And so when we look at places like Flint, when we look at Detroit, when we look at the rest of the country, there's so much erosion that has happened. And in Flint in particular, we're talking about the investment in what we need to do to make sure that every family has access to clean drinking water. It means building back up the infrastructure around water delivery, water storage, the capture of water. And so a big part of our plan is about $2 trillion going into America's infrastructure, and also making sure that 40% of that money is directed at the hardest hit and the most in need communities, and Flint, of course, is on that list.
The president is promising to bring forward a nominee for the Supreme Court as early as the end of this week. Should President Trump be allowed to make an appointment for the Supreme Court?
No, the people of the United States of America should be able to elect their next president. Many states have already started voting. Here in Michigan, Folks are going to start voting in 2 days. And the people should be able to elect their president, who then will nominate the next justice to the Supreme Court.
Between race concerns and political issues, it does not feel like we are the United States of America right now. So if elected, how will you unite the country?
By bringing everyone together. It's such a shame what has happened over these last almost 4 years. We've had a president in Donald Trump who has spent full time trying to sow hate and division, turning Americans against each other. It's awful. One of the best and the greatest qualities of Joe Biden is he loves the people and will unify the people. And that will be one of my and his highest priorities, which is to bring our country together around our collective goals and dreams and hopes for our children, for our families, and for our country.